Hi, a little bit about day 9. We woke up at our wild camp. A little bit drizzly, a little bit cloudy, but still a beautiful spot to be getting up. Packed up and left. It turns out there was a French guy doing some cycle touring with some very heavily laden bags on his bike. We didn't think he'd be able to move it too far, but yeah, we'll get back to him a little bit later because yeah, he reappears. So we set off in the morning. Basically today is should have been a fairly easy day kilometre wise, about 55k, but there's just one enormous up and over to try and get up and over one of the sides of the fjord and then down to the coast to grab a ferry. So on the way we went to see quite an impressive waterfall, probably a couple of 100 metres dropped, a lot of water going over there. That was only after about 55 minutes of biking, and I think Hugh was a little bit surprised when Steve suggested cracking out lunch and having a second feed in the day, which we duly did, because you should never turn down food is going to be one of our mottos for this trip. And yeah, so we start hacking up this climb, and we pass our French friend, and he's sat there with a little picnic. And it's fair to say it's quite a long drag up this climb, and it's an off-road track, but it's hard packed mud, so fairly easy going in that respect, but just a lot of winding little false summits just to raise your hopes and you know, dash them again. Had a little shower just to make sure we're all a little bit soaked and you know, aptly cooled down. And we're just getting to the top of the climb after a couple of hours of hacking away, and the French guy just rolls in afterwards with a big smile on his face, not even a helmet on his head, and we all go screaming down the other side at fair pace. And yeah, it's fair to say that he's happy to let his bike run out, and yeah, some of his overtaking manoeuvres were perhaps a little bit close to the bone, but we certainly had to pedal pretty hard to keep up with him. And turns out after a little chat at the bottom, he's done a fair bit of biking in the Alps, so I guess he's no stranger to big hills. Anyway, we got to the ferry port with a couple of hours to spare, and we were hoping for a cup of coffee and a little bite to eat, but yeah, being Iceland, we'd underestimated again their ability to shut when we're hungry, and everything was closed, so we sat down by the pier, cooked up our own cup of tea, and waited for the ticket office to open. Piled on the ferry, and the ferry ship was very nice, watching the land go out and poking around the ship. A little bit chilly on top, but stops off at a very small island halfway across the bay, and we reckon there's probably about 30 people max on the island, so I think the guidebook says it's a fairly slow pace of life, and yeah, I can believe that. So we've got to the other side, and we little campsite in town, so we just rolled in, put the tent up, had a cup of soup, and made use of the showers, which is a little bit of an oddity. Very nice shower block, except for the fact that the showers are outdoors on the outside, as if they've somehow forgotten to put them on the inside. So a little bit strange, but very welcome, because we're all beginning to smell a little bit. Yeah, got our heads down for a good night's sleep.